Hey, what's going on? EA Sports FC 26 just got this new title update, and honestly, it is the kind of patch that does not try to completely flip the game on its head, but instead smooths out a bunch of annoying little things that players have been running into. This update is really about cleaning up the experience across a few different areas, from Ultimate Team to Career Mode to Clubs, and it also brings a round of visual and stability improvements that should help the whole game feel a bit more polished overall. So let's start with Ultimate Team, because this one is pretty easy to understand and honestly pretty important for anyone who spends time setting up squads or completing SBCs. Before this update, when you were adding or swapping player items into a squad or SBC, the filter could default to any instead of properly locking onto the position you had highlighted. That sounds like a tiny annoyance on the surface, but anybody who has tried to move quickly through menus knows how frustrating that can be, especially when you're trying to keep pace while building a squad and the interface suddenly feels like it is working against you. Now that has been addressed, and it should make squad building feel more responsive and less clunky. In Career Mode, the update does a bit more, and this is where a lot of players are probably going to notice the difference first because several quality of life fixes have been rolled in. The game has updated some social media posts, which helps the mode feel a little fresher in presentation, and it has also adjusted the injury duration selection inside the Injuries and Suspensions menu. That is the kind of tweak you may not notice in a highlight trailer, but in actual gameplay it helps make menu management feel more natural and less awkward. They also improved the visibility of qualification zones in competition standings when using Deeper Sim, which is great because anything that makes league and tournament progress easier to read is a win for Career Mode players. There are also a handful of bug fixes in Career Mode that really clean up some of the more frustrating edge cases. Swapping over to the Position tab while using development plans could cause role growth to disappear, which is the sort of problem that can make progression systems feel unreliable even when everything else is working fine. That has now been fixed. The update also addresses overlapping text in some areas, which sounds cosmetic, but UI readability is one of those things that can quietly affect how smooth the entire mode feels. In Manager Live matches, all players have been showing up with the same boots, which is exactly the kind of visual bug that breaks immersion in a way you cannot unsee once you notice it. That has been corrected too. There were also cases where certain leagues were shown as unavailable when you were trying to replace teams in specific challenges, and some players were being displayed as out of position in the match preview screen, even when that was not actually the case. On top of that, scout reports could sometimes show incorrect attribute values, which is a much bigger deal than it sounds because scouting feeds directly into how you plan transfers and long-term squad growth. Fixing that means the mode should be a little more trustworthy when you are making decisions behind the scenes. Clubs gets one focused adjustment, but it is a meaningful one for people who care about performance and ratings. The match rating calculation logic for cams has been further adjusted so that it does not hand out unintentionally high ratings. That is one of those balancing fixes that might not make a huge splash in a casual conversation, but it absolutely matters in competitive environments because rating systems shape how players interpret their own performance and how the mode rewards certain roles on the pitch. If cams were being rated too generously, that can distort how the mode feels and can make some performances seem better than they really were. Tightening that up should help make the feedback system more accurate and more consistent. And then there's the general package of presentation and stability work, which covers a wide range of visual content like crests, banners, scarves, flags, scenes, camera angles, overlays, celebrations, text, hair, ad boards, and cinematics. That is a big list, and it tells you this update is not just about one mode or one bug. It is also about making the whole game presentation cleaner and more up-to-date. Stability fixes are in there too, which is always welcome because nobody wants a polished menu 1 minute and a random crash the next.